Well, let's just check in with Keir Starmer and see what he's got to say for himself over in Washington.
For Ukraine and security in Europe. I also feel that we can make real progress towards a just and lasting outcome. Obviously that has to involve Ukraine, and a trilateral meeting seems the sensible next step, so thank you for being prepared to take that forward, because I think if we can ensure that that is the progress out of this meeting, both security guarantees and some sort of progress on trilateral meeting of some sort to bring some of the difficult issues to a head, then I think today will be seen as a very important day in recent years in relation to a conflict which has gone on for 3 and a bit years, and so far nobody's been able to bring it to this point. So I think.
Christ. I mean, can we not find anybody a bit better than that to go and represent the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland? Let's talk to Dan Hodges. Dan, listen, mate, I'm in despair watching that. How useless is he? Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I've been pretty critical of him over the last few weeks.
You have? Yeah, but I mean, performatively, that's just embarrassing.
But I think the whole point is, you know, we had the meeting with Trump and Putin, you know, this major meeting. We had this major summit yesterday with obviously Zelensky, Trump, the European leaders. Yeah. The reality is nothing has happened.
Right.
Nothing has come out of either meeting of any significant substance. Now, people are running around this morning saying, you know, I saw Harry's analysis earlier. You know, we've got this security guarantee from Trump, which is a major shift, but we haven't actually got anything. You know, we've got some words from Trump about a security guarantee, but we get words from Trump on various issues all the time, and then a week later we just get different words. We had the reports after the Putin Trump summit that Trump had agreed to basically hand over the Donbass to Putin, something that would have been unacceptable to Zelensky. That seems to have gone away. So I think in fairness,
what, you mean he's not doing it, or it's now acceptable?
In terms of in relation to the Donbass?
When you say it's gone away, do you mean he's not saying?
Yeah, I mean we didn't. I mean, for example, we didn't have any of that yesterday. No. We didn't hear any of that. Similarly, we didn't have any details, as I said, on the security guarantees. Look, the thing that you have to understand about all this is what has actually happened.
Right.
A couple of weeks ago, we were coming up to another of Trump's deadlines, where he had said, if Vladimir Putin doesn't introduce a ceasefire, I'm going to introduce major sanctions.
Yeah.
The reality is, what we've seen is some choreography between Trump and Putin, which has allowed Trump to basically bottle it again and avoid introducing sanctions on Russia again, which he's done consistently. The war's still going on. The attacks are still going on. We've had this ridiculous choreography yesterday. A lot of it appeared to be, you know, European leaders attempting to boost.
But hang on, if you're going to say that this is all just nonsense and it's a kind of an episode of Trumpian self-aggrandizement, why are all the European leaders playing up to it then? Why have they?
Because as we've seen, that's how they manage Trump.
But they don't manage Trump at all. You know, they look
how
like
they try to manage.
Like, no, but they look like lickspittles sitting around, you know, the king. That's what they look like to me. And Keir Starmer certainly is not managing him. He's sitting there making no sense at all, embarrassing this country when he should be back here actually sorting out some of the British problems and not the ones in Ukraine. And when he says, oh, there hasn't been a family or a community not affected by the Ukraine war, I'm saying, when I speak to the people that listen to this show, they're like, we don't sit around in the pub talking about Ukraine. We sit in the pub talking about migration, and we want it fixed.
No, absolutely. But I mean, the reality is, it's not Keir Starmer's job to sit in the pub chatting.
No, but it's his job to fix his own country's borders.
No,
it's his job to get to grips with the massive problems affecting people in this country. And it's not Ukraine. It's bloody migrants.
No, obviously we've got a major issue with migration, but war in Ukraine and war in Europe and the potential consequences of what arise from that war of Europe is a major issue.
Yeah, but that's not what you know me, Dan. I talk about what the people talk about, right? And that's not what they're talking about. And you might think they're talking about it, but they're not.
No, I don't for a moment think that the main conversation in pubs is Ukraine. I mean,
it isn't.
I socially and as part of my job regularly go out and speak to people about what their priorities are, and you're absolutely right. Their priorities at the moment are cost of living, the migrant crisis, concerns about the migrant hotels, concerns about crime linked to the migrant hotels. Yeah. That's absolutely right. But what we saw yesterday, there are other still major global events happening, and a part of the Prime Minister's job is he's got to be across them. If I've got a criticism of Keir Starmer, it's I don't disagree with you. It's that he has spent too much time focusing on foreign issues and not focusing on domestic issues. But yesterday wasn't one of them, as we saw. The entire sort of Western European leadership was in Washington. If Keir Starmer hadn't have been there, then he would have deserved criticism for that as well. The key thing is, being Prime Minister involves you being able to sit across a vast range of issues, and Keir Starmer hasn't effectively been able to do that tonight. No. But that doesn't mean to say he shouldn't have been in Washington yesterday.
No, okay, I take that point as well. But equally, I think you have to admit that whether or not you think Trump has got anywhere, or whether he's managed to do anything to move the dial on the war in Ukraine, he's at least got Putin to a table. They've had a conversation. There's now apparently an agreement for Zelensky and Putin to have a meeting, right? Which in any world is a step in the right direction. And if that happens in the next 2 weeks, which we're told it will, Zelensky said he'll do it, Putin has said he'll do it, that is a pretty big step forward, isn't it?
Well, it depends what the peace deal is. I mean, people keep saying, oh, if we get peace, then that's a wonderful result. Well, it depends on what terms we get the peace. If we get a peace which means Putin's aggression and Russia's aggression is finally stopped forever, then fine, that would be a result. But if we get a peace which effectively rewards Putin for his invasion, allows Putin time to rearm, and that in 2 or 3 or 4 years' time, Putin comes back and has another go, then that would be disastrous. So as I said, the key thing in relation to everything that we've seen over the last week or so is what is the actual concrete deal. If there is going to be a deal, what does it look like? Yeah. If it does involve Trump saying to Zelensky, you are going to have to give up large swathes of your country to this Russian aggression, that would be a disastrous result.
Well, according to a Ukrainian MP I spoke to earlier in the show, if Zelensky agreed to that, that would be, in her words, political suicide for him. And they would dislodge him from being the president of Ukraine. So he's not really in a position to accept that. In the same way as they're also saying, what we want is to have justice for Ukraine. So what they want, in addition to any kind of peace deal, is the ability to prosecute Russia for war crimes. Well, Putin's never going to agree to that, is he?
No, obviously he's not. Obviously he's not going to agree to that. But the negotiations can't be conducted. I think this is one of the problems. The negotiations seem to consistently be conducted on this is what Putin will agree to, not what Zelensky will agree to, not what Ukraine will agree to, and not what we in the broader West will agree to. And part of that is because people have different views about why he's doing it. The reality is Trump has decided to align himself much more closely with Putin than with Zelensky. And, this is part of the problem in terms of what we've seen in terms of the response to what happened yesterday. Lots of people are wandering around seeming to think, because Zelensky wasn't bodily thrown out of the Oval Office, because he wasn't openly abused by Trump and Vance, this is somehow progress. No, it's not progress. It shouldn't have that. Well, it is progress.
Come on, Dan. I mean, it is progress because before this there was no meeting. There was no conversation. So you can't say it's not progress. It is progress. You might not think it's enough progress, but it's definitely, the dial has definitely moved. You know, Vladimir Putin has had a meeting with the President of the United States about ending the war in Ukraine. The fact that they haven't ended it yet means that, you know, they haven't ended it yet, but they're on the road to doing so, which has surely got to be welcomed around the world, hasn't it?
You're saying we're on the road to it. I'm just going.
Well, we're more on the road to it than we were before the meeting, surely.
I don't understand.
Do you think the meeting's a waste of time then? Is that you saying you don't think they should bother having a meeting?
At the moment, in terms of the readout,
but that's not realistic, Dan. Come on.
But what's not realistic?
Well, you're saying basically that there was no point in Donald Trump and Putin having a meeting. There's no point in Donald Trump and the European leaders having a meeting. There's no point in Zelensky having a meeting with Vladimir Putin. So what's your answer then?
Well,
what should they be doing?
Well, firstly, what should be doing is Putin should be withdrawing his attacks from Ukraine. That's what should be happening.
Well, yeah, but he's not going to do that.
Now, if you want to talk about the reality of the world,
yeah, well, the reality of the world is that the Russians are not going to just go, oh, do you know what? Actually, forget the war. We'll just pull out all the troops out and we'll just go home. That's not going to happen.
The other reality,
if that's what you think is a reality, then I'm going to send you to the nearest psychiatrist.
But the other reality of the world is, if every time Russia invades a country, and ultimately the solution to the invasion is we ultimately say to Russia, okay, you've invaded this country, fair enough, you can keep what you've gained in that invasion, please don't do it again, as we did a few years ago, and then again they invade, and again they take more territory, and again our response is, okay,
well, what do you think we should do?
You've been bad again.
Well, what would you suggest? All right, what's your remedy then? So we declare war on them, have World War III? Is that what you want to do?
Well, ultimately, if Russia is gonna keep invading people, then yes.
Yes. Well, you want World War III. Dan Hodges wants World War III. Page 1 tomorrow morning, Daily Mail. Let's have World War III. Are you going to send your kids out to fight for you?
Well, Mike.
Oh, you've gone mad, Dan.
Okay, Mike, you were just saying to me that you thought a good thing that was coming out of this was that we just seen Donald Trump offering Ukraine security guarantees. What do you think those security guarantees
I didn't say that. That was what Harry Cole said. I mean, I think it's a good thing that they're having conversations. I think it's a good thing that they're making some progress, and I think it's a step in very much the right direction. Because I'd rather see a settlement than World War III. I don't agree with you.
But surely you have to understand that any settlement has to involve the West saying to Putin, if you invade again, if you invade Ukraine again, if you invade another sovereign state again, we will fight you.
Well, you have to have.
What's going to stop him?
Well, you have to have some kind of agreement with him, so that he doesn't do it again. I agree with you, but it doesn't have to be.
But that has to involve. Surely,
it doesn't have to involve the nuclear option. Maybe it's a commercial deal. There's any number of possibilities. I don't know. You know, I'm not an international negotiator, and neither is Keir Starmer, by the way. But at the end of the day, surely it's better for them to be talking to each other than it is to be firing missiles at each other.
But the point is, they are
threatening to fire missiles at each other isn't any better.
But Mike, that's the point. They're still firing missiles at each other. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, I know.
Putin is still attacking Ukraine.
But they're talking to each other, and if Putin and Zelensky sit down in a room together and have a meeting to discuss how to solve it, surely you have to welcome that.
If there's a meeting, yes, and if it leads to a ceasefire and a peace deal, and it leads to Putin stopping his aggression, yes. But if it's as we saw, as we were told a few days ago, if it's a meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, in which Donald Trump says to Vladimir Putin, "Okay, mate, I'm on your side. I'm going to try and get the rest of Europe and
well, you don't know that's what he said.
To agree. No, exactly. I don't. This is why I'm saying
you don't know that's what he said.
What was agreed.
No,
but until we know what was agreed, I'm not going to turn around.
International diplomacy, Dan, as you well know, is complicated. It's not straightforward. People don't just turn up and shake hands and go, right, that's it.
But you're literally saying to me, we have no idea what Putin and Trump agreed, but you have to welcome it.
I'm saying, you remember the conversations? Do you remember the conversations we used to have where you would say, and I would say, wait and see, right? Do you remember those? And I said, wait and see. And I said it a lot. And I was more right than I was wrong, right? So wait and see on this one. Wait and see on this one.
Wait and see. You said wait and see what Trump will do in relation to Putin.
Yes.
Now, what has Trump done in relation to Putin?
Well, he's managed to get a meeting with him, and he's managed to get Zelensky.
Wow,
hang
fantastic.
on. He's managed to,
amazing.
Brilliant. Well, hang on. He's managed to get Zelensky to agree to have a meeting with him as well, which he agreed to do yesterday.
Fantastic. On the basis
of course it's fantastic. Well, it's better than not, isn't it?
No.
No? Well, so you don't think there's any point in them having a meeting?
You're saying
Dan Hodges wants World War III, doesn't think there should be a meeting between the two warring parties. So we should all just have mutually assured destruction, should we? Like some kind of 1950s nuclear holocaust movie.
Well, unless Putin and Trump have suddenly agreed to give up their nuclear deterrence, we've got mutually assured destruction.
No, we haven't.
That's a reality.
Well, let's check in with Keir Starmer and see what he says. Right? Check this out.
We are moving to war-fighting readiness. When we are being directly threatened by states with advanced military forces, the most effective way to deter them is to be ready. And frankly, to show them that we're ready.
We're not ready, are we?
No, we're not. But we should be, shouldn't we? We should be, shouldn't we?
No, we're not ready. So you've got to tell your mates in the Labour Party, if you want to have World War III, as you've advocated, you better get ready for it.
I'm not
you
sure.
You are advocating it. You are. You just said it.
No, what I
said. You said you'd have World War III. You want to play it back to you?
If we want to have security guarantees, which is apparently, you heard Harry say it, you were just praising Trump. You were praising Trump having the meeting.
I'm just praising the situation.
Arising out of the meetings, we have a security guarantee, then that is what a security guarantee is. A security guarantee is us saying to Putin, not as you said, let's just do a commercial deal with him, or let's take him on trust. A security guarantee is saying to Putin, if you invade Ukraine again, if you try and extend your gains in Ukraine, if you invade another foreign state, another sovereign state, we will go to war with you. Now, that's a situation we've had, Mike, since the end of the Second World War. That's what NATO is.
Yeah.
That's what we've had, those security. We have collective guarantees. We currently say, if you march into France, or you march into Germany, or you march into...
But that's why he's never done it, right? The fact that he's gone into Ukraine, as you quite rightly said, is because he did it in 2014 and nobody stopped him, right?
Exactly.
And so he will continue to do it. But the Hawks,
exactly.
But the
so
Hawks,
if he's going to continue to do it.
But the Hawks, who say that the next thing he'll do is walk into Poland, or we'll walk into Finland, or we'll walk into some other Western country protected by NATO, are talking absolute cobblers, because he knows that he can't do that, because he knows that if he did do that, then there would be a mutually assured destruction scenario that would be triggered by the agreements that everybody in the world has got, right? So I'm not one of those. So I'm not one of those.
So now, Mike, you're advocating.
No, I'm not. No,
you just said if he walks into Poland, he knows that will trigger nuclear.
I'm saying he wouldn't know. No. Listen to what I'm saying. The fact is, he hasn't ever done that, and there's a reason why he hasn't done it, because there's already a deal in place, right? They're trying to now put a deal in place to stop him from going into Ukraine again, which surely has got to be better than allowing him to continually go into Ukraine. That's all I'm saying. And the fact that they're sitting down around a table, but the fact that they're sitting down around a table makes it more likely rather than less likely that they'll come to an agreement, surely.
Right. And as you just said, you used the example of Poland, and that's why he hasn't invaded Poland. As you just seem to have acknowledged, if we do have a deal, and if there is a deal, and that deal involves security guarantees, those security guarantees have got to involve ourselves and the United States saying to Vladimir Putin, if you invade Ukraine again, we will fight you. That's what a security guarantee is, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. Fine. So we're agreed.
But that's not the same as saying I'd rather have World War III than them sitting down making useless agreements, which is what you said earlier, right?
No, it's not what I said.
Yes, it is.
I said...
Well, we've got what you said. I'll tell you. Well, we'll play it back to you. Yeah, we've got it here. Go on, play it. What's your remedy then? If we declare war on them, have World War III? Is that what you want to do?
Well, ultimately, if Russia is gonna keep invading people, then yes.
Yes. Well, you want World War III. Dan Hodges wants World War III. There you have it. That's what you said.
Russia keeps invading people. Now, you just said...
That's what you just said. You want World War III. You just said it. Those are your words, not mine.
If they keep invading people, we are going to have to fight them.
People.
What do we do? Just let them invade everywhere?
The point is, my point, Dan, is that they don't invade everywhere, and there's a reason why they don't invade everywhere. Because they know where the boundaries are. You know, it's like when you've got a mate.
We're talking about Ukraine.
It's like... This is why they're having a meeting, to stop them invading Ukraine. It's not difficult, this.
Right, exactly. Right? It's not difficult.
So we're agreed.
Having a meeting.
So we're agreed, actually, on what I was saying, not on what you were saying, that they need to stop invading Ukraine. And in order to stop invading Ukraine, they need to have an agreement. And that's what they're trying to get.
And that's what Trump, that agreement...
And that's what Trump is trying to organise.
Exactly. And part of that agreement has to involve security guarantees.
Yes.
And those security guarantees have to say, if you invade Ukraine again, we will fight you.
Yes. No.
Right.
No,
so
not we will fight you.
So now you're advocating World War III.
No, just don't bloody well do it. Jesus Christ. I don't know. Listen, have a great weekend. Good to see you. Dan Hodges, commentator at the Mail on Sunday. He wants World War III. I don't.